Rest now. This is Pillowside Night Stories. Tonight is a sleep story for adults, set in a small garden club reading room on a rainy late winter evening. Damp wool coats hang by the radiator. Thick seed annuals lie open across a long wooden table. One chair has been left empty for you beneath a shaded lamp. Rain moves down the tall windows. A catalog page turns with a soft, glossy weight. A pencil circles the name of a peony that will not bloom for years yet. No one at the table looks up for long. Someone simply shifts a cup, clears a little space, and the room goes on at its slower pace. You have come in out of the rain. The meeting is already underway, but no one minds a late arrival. A chair has been left open. The door closes behind you with a soft click, and the sound of the rain becomes muffled. The evening is cold outside, and the streets are wet. But here, there is warmth, damp wool drying, old paper, tea that has been poured more than once this evening. The long wooden table at the center of the room is covered with paper. Seed catalogs, some new and glossy, some older with matte pages and hand-drawn illustrations. Cups of tea, pencils, most of them short, envelopes with handwriting in faded ink, reading glasses set down on open pages, a small tin near the center that might hold paper clips or saved seeds. 3 women sit around the table, perhaps 4. One sits near the window, turning the pages of a catalog slowly. Another has pulled her chair closer to the lamp. A third is leaning forward, turning the pages of a catalog that must be 40 years old. No one looks up when you enter. Or rather, someone does, briefly, and then looks down again. A cup is shifted. A catalog is moved a few inches to the left. And there, at the end of the table nearest the lamp, a chair sits empty, angled slightly outward. You take off your coat. The wool is damp from the walk, heavier than it should be. There is a row of hooks by the radiator, and several coats already hang there, some of them still giving off a faint steam. You add yours to the row and feel the warmth from the radiator reach your hands, your wrists. The radiator is old, cast iron. It ticks occasionally, a small metallic sound as the metal expands and contracts with the heat. Sometimes 2 ticks close together, sometimes a long pause. The coats hang in a row, dark shapes against the pale wall, their shoulders touching, their sleeves empty. The floor creaks once as you cross to the table. You sit down in the empty chair. The wood is smooth beneath your hands. The lamp above casts a warm amber light across the paper, and you can see now what the women are doing. They are circling things. Small pencil circles drawn carefully around the names of flowers. peonies, foxgloves, delphiniums. The circles are faint, almost tentative. Several of the catalogs are already open to the same spread, a page of peonies. And beside one name, there are pencil circles, so light they seem almost private. The rain continues on the tall windows. Water moves down the glass in thin lines. The radiator ticks. And somewhere, from the other end of the table, a page turns with a soft, glossy weight. The woman nearest the lamp reaches for a newer catalog, one with a glossy cover and pages that shine under the light. She opens it to a spread of peonies and lays it flat on the table, smoothing the spine with the heel of her hand. The paper is thick. You can hear it, the way it resists bending, the way it wants to spring back to its original shape. She holds it open with one hand and reaches for her pencil with the other. The pencil is short, worn down to half its original length, and the wood is smooth where her fingers have held it year after year. A cup is lifted from the table, set down. The ceramic makes a soft sound against the wood. A page turns, the glossy paper catching the light for a moment, before falling flat again. A pencil moves across paper, leaving a faint graphite circle around a name you cannot quite read from where you sit. The table is covered with catalogs in various states. Some lie flat, held open by other catalogs or by cups. Some are stacked, their spines facing out, their covers faded from years of handling. The oldest ones have a different feel entirely, their pages soft with use, their corners rounded. One of the women, the one near the window, is working with an older annual. The pages are matte, not glossy, and the illustrations are drawings rather than photographs. She turns a page, and the sound is different from the newer catalogs. Softer, lighter. The paper does not resist. It simply moves, worn smooth by decades of handling. She sets the older annual beside a newer catalog. The glossy pages shine under the lamp. The matte pages absorb the light. In the newer photographs, every detail of color is captured. In the older drawings, you can see the curve of petals, the weight of blooms on their stems. Someone pours tea. You hear the sound of it, liquid into ceramic, a thin stream that grows quieter as the cup fills. The cups are mismatched, brought from homes over the years. Some with flowers on them, some plain white, some with chips on the rim that no one minds. The clink of a spoon against the rim of a cup, but only once. Whoever is stirring does not stir for long. A voice comes from the other end of the table. Low, matter of fact. Peonies take 3 years from planting. That's why we circle them now. No one responds. except with a small sound, a murmur, a breath that might be acknowledgement. The radiator ticks. The rain continues on the tall windows. You look down at the table in front of you and see that someone has placed a catalog there, open to a page of sweet peas. The colors are vivid, the pinks and purples and whites arranged in rows. The variety names are printed in small type beneath each photograph. Old Spice, Kupani, Matukana. Some of the names have faint pencil marks beside them from other evenings. There is a pencil beside the catalog. Short, sharpened unevenly. The wood is pale, the graphite dark. You do not pick it up, but you notice it, and you notice the way the light falls across the page. The woman nearest you turns a page in her catalog. Roses. Climbing roses, with names like Zephyrine Druhin and Madame Alfred Carrière. She has circled none of them yet. She is simply looking, her pencil resting beside her cup. One of the women reaches for an envelope near the center of the table. It is a small envelope, the kind that seeds come in, with a paper flap and handwriting on the front. The ink is blue, faded to something closer to gray. She opens the flap and looks inside, tilts the envelope slightly so a few dark seeds slide to one corner, then closes it again and sets it down. Another envelope, larger, has a pressed flower taped to the inside of the flap. You can see it when the woman opens it, a flat, pale shape that might once have been pink or red. She looks at it for a moment, then closes the envelope and sets it aside, separate from the others. The woman with the older annual turns another page, then another. She is looking for something, or perhaps she is simply looking, letting her eyes move across the drawings. Another woman reaches for a pencil, considers a name on the page in front of her, and draws a small circle around it. The graphite is soft against the glossy paper. She sets the pencil down and reaches for her cup. The small tin near the center of the table is opened. Someone takes out a paper clip to mark a page, then closes the tin again with a soft click. One of the women adjusts her reading glasses, pushing them higher on her nose, and leans closer to the page in front of her. The catalog is open to a spread of delphiniums, tall blue spires arranged in rows. She picks up her pencil, considers a name, and draws a small circle around it. Then she sets the pencil down and reaches for her tea. Another woman has gathered several envelopes near her elbow. She opens them one by one, looking at the seeds inside, some of them dark and round, some of them flat and papery, some of them so small they are almost like dust. She closes each envelope after looking and sets it in a new pile. One of the envelopes has a return address written in the corner, the name of a nursery that no longer exists. The woman who opens it pauses, reads the name, and then sets the envelope down more carefully than the others. The older annual is passed from one hand to another. Someone turns to the index at the back, runs a finger down the list of names, and then flips to a page near the middle. The pages are thin, almost translucent, and the light from the lamp shines through them when they are lifted. One of the women picks up an envelope and weighs it in her hand. She sets it down and picks up another, heavier. She nods to herself and puts it in a separate pile. Another woman has found a page of dahlias and is comparing it to a similar page in a newer catalog. She holds the two catalogs side by side, turning her head from one to the other. A cup is set down. A page turns. A pencil is picked up, used, and set down again. The woman nearest the lamp reaches for a small notepad that has been sitting near her elbow. She writes something down, a few words, and then sets the pencil beside it. The notepad is spiral bound, the page is yellowed at the edges. Then one of the women draws an older annual nearer to the lamp and begins to read a short passage, and the rhythm of the room shifts. The woman reads aloud, but not loudly. Her voice is low, almost private, as if she is reading to herself, and the room is simply allowed to listen. Sarah Bernhardt, double pink, fragrant. May require staking in second year, one of the most reliable. That is all. A few sentences. A description of a flower that will not bloom until years from now, in a garden that may or may not exist yet. She closes the annual and sets it down. The book lands on the table with a soft thud, and the pages of other catalogs stir slightly from the movement of air. Someone reaches for it, turns it over, looks at the cover. The cover is pale green, faded, with an illustration of a dahlia that must have been bright once. Red and orange and yellow, but the years have softened it to something more muted. The year printed in the corner is older than some of the women at this table. Someone pours more tea. The cup is set down with a soft click, and the woman who poured it pushes it gently toward the center of the table, where anyone can reach it. The rain is still falling. You can hear it on the tall windows, a steady sound, neither loud nor soft. It has been falling for hours, probably. It will continue falling for hours more. A voice comes from near the window. The older annuals are drawn, not photographed. You notice the shape of things differently. Another voice from the other end of the table. What about sweet peas? Can they go in now? A pause. The sound of a page turning. The sound of consideration. If the ground isn't frozen, they like the cold to start. And then the room returns to its rhythm. Pages turning, cups lifted and set down, pencils moving across paper. The lamp casts its amber light. The radiator ticks, slower now, the heat finding its level. The coats by the wall are drying, giving off less steam, their wool returning to its usual weight. Your own coat hangs among them, no longer dripping, no longer cold. One of the women has found a page of irises and is studying them. The photographs show purple and yellow and white, the colors vivid against the glossy paper. She does not circle any of them. She simply looks, her tea cooling beside her, her pencil untouched. Another woman has closed her catalog and pushed it to the side. She is reading the notes someone wrote on the back of an envelope, holding it close to the lamp, squinting slightly at the faded handwriting. Then she sets it down and reaches for a different envelope, one that is still sealed. One of the women reaches for her cup and lifts it to her lips. The tea must be cooling now. She drinks anyway, a small sip, and sets the cup down again. The ceramic clicks against the wood. Another woman smooths a page flat, with her palm pressing down on the spine of the catalog to keep it open. The glossy paper reflects the lamplight, and for a moment, you can see the illustration clearly. A peony, pink and full, with petals that seem to glow. The woman near the window turns another page in her older annual. The paper makes a soft sound, different from the glossy catalogs, more like cloth than paper. She pauses on a page of hollyhocks, tall spires of pink and red and white drawn in ink that has faded to something gentler than it once was. A pencil rolls slightly when someone sets down an envelope. The pencil is short, yellow, with a worn eraser, and it rolls until it touches the edge of a catalog and stops. No one picks it up. An envelope is passed from one hand to another. Someone opens it, looks at the seeds inside, nods once, and passes it back. The paper rustles softly. The woman with the older annual turns to a page, near the back, where someone has written notes, in pencil, in the margin. The handwriting is small, neat, faded. She reads the notes silently, then turns to the next page. One of the women has opened a catalog to a page of clematis, purple and white flowers climbing up a photographed trellis. She runs her finger down the list of varieties, pausing at one name, then another. She does not circle any of them. She simply considers, her pencil held loosely in her other hand. The envelopes on the table are of different sizes. Some are small, seed-sized. Others are larger, the kind that letters come in, or receipts, or notes passed between gardeners over the years. The handwriting on them varies. Some careful, some hurried. All of it faded now. One envelope has been sealed with a piece of tape that has yellowed and curled at the edges. No one has opened it tonight. Perhaps no one will. One of the women reaches for the small tin near the center of the table and opens it. Inside are paper clips, a few rubber bands, and what looks like a dried flower pressed flat. She takes out a paper clip, uses it to mark a page, and closes the tin again. Another woman has found a page she wants to return to later. She folds the corner down, a small triangle, and then smooths the fold with her thumbnail. The tea in the pot is getting low. Someone lifts it, tilts it to pour, and only a thin stream comes out. She sets the pot back down and reaches for her cup anyway, drinking what remains, cold now, but still tea. One of the women closes her catalog and leans back in her chair. She does not leave. She simply sits, her hands folded in her lap, watching the others work. Her tea has gone cold, but she does not reach for it. She is simply present, part of the room, part of the evening. The lamp flickers slightly, and one of the women reaches up to steady the shade. The light settles again, falling evenly across the table, across the open pages, across the hands that turn them. A pencil is sharpened. You can hear the small sound of the blade against the wood, the soft scrape of graphite being exposed. The shavings fall onto a piece of scrap paper that someone has placed there for that purpose. The light outside the windows has changed. It is darker now, the last of the daylight gone entirely. The windows have become mirrors, reflecting the lamp and the table and the women back into the room. The rain continues. Only later do you notice there are fewer coats on the hooks. Someone is leaving. You hear it before you see it. The soft scrape of a chair pushed back from the table. The rustle of movement. The creak of the floor. One of the women lifts her coat from the hook by the radiator. The wool has dried now, and it hangs differently, lighter than it was when she arrived. She puts it on without hurry, buttoning it slowly, her fingers finding each button by memory. Then she turns and says something to the room. You cannot quite hear what she says. It is soft, meant for no one in particular. The door opens. The sound of rain grows louder for a moment. You can feel the cold on your face, brief and sharp. Then the door closes, and the warmth returns. The women who remain continue with their catalogs, their pencils, their cups of tea. A page turns, then nothing for a while. Then another page turns. The lamp still casts its amber light across the table, but someone has lowered it slightly, adjusting the shade so that the brightest part of the light falls on a smaller area. The shade tilts on a hinge that squeaks faintly when moved. The edges of the room are darker now. The corners have receded into shadow. Another woman leaves. The chair pushed back. The floor. The coat lifted from its hook. The hook swings slightly, then stills. The door. The rain, louder for a moment, then muffled again. Fewer hands reaching for things now. Fewer pencils in motion. Fewer cups being lifted. The catalogs remain open. The circles remain on the pages. The tea in the cups has gone cold. The surfaces are still and flat, without the slight shimmer that warm tea has. The cups sit where they were left, their handles pointing in different directions. One cup has left a faint ring on the wood where it has been sitting. One of the women closes a catalog halfway and leaves it near the lamp. She reaches for an envelope, tucks it inside the front cover, and pats the closed edge once with her palm. The woman who had been sitting nearest the lampstands. She does not reach for her coat immediately. She stands by the table for a moment, looking down at the open catalogs, the penciled circles, the cups. Her hand rests on the back of her chair. Then she reaches for a catalog, one of the newer glossy ones, and closes it halfway. Not all the way. Just enough to mark her place. She leaves her pencil across the open page. The graphite is dark against the glossy paper, a thin line. The clock on the wall is more noticeable now. You had not heard it before. But now, with fewer voices and fewer movements, you can hear each tick. Slow, steady. The clock is old, with a round face and numbers that are black against cream. The rain continues on the tall windows. Farther away now, or that is how it sounds. The radiator ticks once, twice, then falls silent for a long while. One of the women, perhaps the last one besides yourself, reaches for her coat. It is dark wool, heavier than the others. She puts it on slowly. You can hear the fabric moving, the sleeves sliding over her arms, the buttons finding their holes one by one. She pauses by the table and looks down at the catalogs one more time. Her hand hovers over one of them, as if she might open it again, but she does not. She simply looks, and then she turns away. She adjusts the lamp before she goes, tilting the shade so that the light falls more directly on the table. on the open page. The hinge squeaks softly. The light shifts. Then she lifts her hand, a brief wave, and crosses to the door. The door opens. The rain, the cold, the smell of wet pavement. The door closes. The coat hooks hold only your coat now. One hook near the center is bare, the brass worn from years of use. The chairs around the table are empty or pushed back at angles that no one chose deliberately. One catalog lies half closed, its glossy cover catching the light. One pencil rests across an open page. One cup sits cold beside an envelope that no one opened. The small tin remains near the center, still closed. The reading glasses someone left on an open page have slid down slightly, their arms folded, their lenses reflecting two small ovals of amber light. The paper clip that marked a page has come loose and lies flat against the margin. One of the older annuals lies closed, its pale green cover facing up, its spine cracked from years of opening. A pencil has been left inside it, marking a page that someone meant to return to. The chairs that were pulled close to the table now stand at different distances. One has been pushed back far enough that its legs have left faint marks on the floor. Another still touches the edge of the table, barely. The notepad with the small, neat handwriting has been left near the lamp. The last thing written on it is a name, or perhaps a question. A saucer sits near the edge of the table, with a spoon resting on it. The spoon is silver, tarnished at the edges, and it catches the lamplight. The cup that belonged with it has been taken away, but the saucer remains. The envelopes that were sorted into piles have been left in their piles, waiting. Near the center of the table, a catalog has been left open to a page that no one was studying. It must have fallen open on its own, to a page that has been opened many times before. The flowers on that page are irises, purple and gold, and no one has circled any of them. The chair nearest the window still holds the shape of whoever sat there. The arms of the chair are worn where hands have rested, and the wood is smooth. One catalog near the edge of the table has slipped slightly, its corner hanging over the side, no longer aligned with the others. A page inside it has fallen open to a spread of tulips, red and yellow, that no one was looking at tonight. The cup nearest the lamp still has a faint circle of steam rising from it. No, that is the light playing tricks. The tea is cold. All the tea is cold now. A pencil has rolled to the very edge of the table and stopped there, balanced, as if waiting for someone to pick it up or push it over. The eraser end is worn flat. The graphite end is sharp. The coats that hung here all evening have left their shapes on the hooks. The wool has pressed the brass flat in certain places. The hooks themselves are old, screwed into the wall by someone who is no longer here. The radiator has cooled. The metal is still warm to the touch, but it no longer ticks. The coats that dried here have all been taken. Only yours remains, lighter now, ready. The rain has not stopped. It continues on the windows, running down in thin lines, patient, unhurried. The sound of it is fainter now, or you are simply listening less. Your coat hangs by the radiator, dry now, lighter than it was when you arrived. You do not reach for it. The radiator continues its slow tick, but the sound is softer now, less frequent. The chair is comfortable enough. The wood is smooth beneath your hands. The lamp is warm. One catalog remains open to a spread of peonies. The colors hold where they are. The pencil circles are there. Faint graphite marks around names. Sarah Bernhardt. Festiva Maxima. Duchesse de Nemours. The table holds what the evening left behind. Cups with dark rings inside. Pencils at angles. Envelopes with faded handwriting. The small tin. The reading glasses. A paper clip that has come loose. A page corner folded down. An older annual with a pencil tucked inside. The saucer with its silver spoon. The notepad. The envelope with the pressed flower inside, set apart from the others. The clock ticks. Each tick is a small sound. The rain on the tall windows. Softer now, or farther away. You look at the page in front of you. The sweet peas. The pinks and purples and whites. Someone placed this catalog here earlier. The pencil still lies beside it. The page is glossy, and the lamp makes it shine. The colors are vivid, but they are still. Nothing moves on the page. Nothing needs to. The radiator gives one last tick and then falls silent. The amber light falls on the open page, on the penciled circles. The shade casts a shadow on the far side of the table. Your eyes move across the page. The names, the circles, the faint graphite lines. One circle catches the light. A small oval around a name you cannot quite read. Your mind follows the curve of it. Around, Around. The cup beside the catalog has gone cold. The tea inside it is still and dark. The lamp flickers once, so briefly that you are not sure it happened. The light steadies. The clock continues, but the ticks are further apart now. Or perhaps you are simply noticing them less. One page beneath the lamp. The graphite curve. Your eyes follow the line around the name, around the page, the lamp, the rain on glass, the clock, somewhere, and somewhere in the middle of the curve, you have already stopped following it.